Hello and welcome to video 2 of your training. In this video I just want to give you a good overview of the system, and then in the next two videos we're going to give you the actual rules to trade and some real example trades. To begin with, let's just talk about the trading system itself. This trading system attempts to catch the breakouts on the major US dollar pairs after the time frame or time period 1400 to 1600 Greenwich Mean Time. And this is the reason why I suggested you use a UK broker or UK-based broker for your charting platform. In the first video, we're going to be putting on the charts this particular time period, and we're going to use that to find out where and when we trade. We trade the system on the 15 minutes charts. Trades are usually entered and exited the same day. And the premise on this particular trading system is that once a consolidation has occurred and a breakout is about to occur after a news release is generally when the breakout occurs. And if it's going to break out, the price can only move in two directions. It's either going to go up or going to go down. And using this system, you will make big profits if you learn to use it well. Let's just talk a little bit more about breakouts. Taking a look here, I put it on a chart. We've got the 1400 time frame and the 1600 time frame in between there. That's the time frame we're trading. And we're expecting the price to break out after that when the news releases start to come out, and the price is only going to go one of two ways, or I guess it could go three. It's either going to break out and go up, or it's going to break out and go down, or if nothing happened, it would just continue to move sideways. But what we're attempting to do with this system, and what the system does do well, is catch the breakout when that price does move down below the medium line and up above the other median line. So we're going to catch the breakouts with this system. This trading system, rather than using indicators, you're going to mark your charts as you go along. So when we start with this system, we set up the charts for each day. We pre-place our orders. If we find legitimate order points, we're going to set a buy order and set a sell order that will be automatically placed if the price hits that point. And the entry automatically occurs after we've done that. And we're going to use stop losses and take profits. So the whole trade is automated. Trades are closed by themselves. Once you've entered the trade, you're going to let it run till either one of two things is obviously going to happen. Either you'll stop out or you'll hit your take profit and you will exit with a profitable trade. And hopefully you learn the system well, and that's what happens most of the time. And things to ensure when you're using this trading system, as I said, the time frame used here is Greenwich Mean Time. So you want to use software that uses that on the charts. If you use software other than the ones I recommended in the first video, you need to first ensure that the software uses the same time zone, Greenwich Mean Time. And if it doesn't, convert the time zone accordingly. So if you're at Greenwich Mean Time -7, then you would subtract 7 hours from the times that we're giving you in these videos. But to make it easier, you're better to use the UK-based software that I showed you in video 1. And then the last thing I want to cover, I just want to help you ensure that your charts look the same as ours do. It'll make it easier to follow along. So I'm going to show you this in MetaTrader, but just to describe it quickly, if you open a chart in MetaTrader and then right-click on that chart and select Properties, we're going to change the background color of the chart to white. We're going to select white background color. We're going to change the bull candle color to green and the bear candle color to red, and doing so will ensure that your charts look more like ours do. And then once you've done that, you can save your work by simply right-clicking on the chart, selecting Template, and then Save Template, and just type in a file name such as white charts or whatever you want to type in there and save it, and that will ensure that you can bring up that nice background and red and green chart anytime you want to. Let's just show you this quickly in MetaTrader, and then we'll move on to the next video and show you the actual rules for trading this system. Okay, so just looking at MetaTrader here, the first thing you need to do is obviously open a chart. If you don't already have a chart open, it doesn't matter which one we open at this point. Just go to the Market Watch symbol over here, or Market Watch column here, right click on any symbol in this window and click Chart Window, and that's going to bring up a new chart for us. And at this point, all we want to do is just set them up so they look close to the charts that we will be using, and it'll make it easier for you to follow along. So just right click on that chart, go down to Properties and click that, and then you can just select color scheme black on white, but we don't specifically want those colors. Change the color of the bull candle to green and change the color of the bear candle to red, and then click OK. And now if I switch to a candle chart and zoom in here, I have green candles going up, red candles going down, and I'm going to use these charts throughout the examples. So if you want to do the same thing, just follow the steps I just gave you. And then finally, you can save this as a template by right-clicking on the chart again, clicking Save Template, and we might just call this White Charts, and click Save. And then that's going to save it, and now I can open up any other chart window, and I can quickly and easily apply that template simply by right-clicking on the chart and selecting White Charts from my menu, and there we go, you've just saved your work. Now move on to the next video, and we're going to give you the actual rules for the trading system, and then in the video after that we're going to give you some real trading examples. Hello and welcome to video 3 of your training. In this video we're going to cover how to use this trading system, and in the next video we'll give you some real trading examples. To begin with, I want to show you how to set up the charts when you're preparing to trade with this system. I'm going to show it in the presentation here, and then we're actually going to show it in MetaTrader as well, so that you have a clear understanding of how to set up your charts and prepare yourself to trade. To begin with, let's talk about that. You need to open a 15-minute chart. The system is intended to be traded on the 15-minute charts. On that chart, you draw a vertical line at the 1400 time, and we're talking Greenwich Mean Time here. So we draw a vertical line at the hour 1400. We draw another vertical line at the hour 1600, and again, Greenwich Mean Time is the time zone that we're using. And then we draw a horizontal line at the high price point of that time frame. And we draw a vertical line at the low price point of the time in between that time frame. So we're going to draw 4 different lines on the chart. Instead of using indicators, we're just going to draw some lines with this system. So just to show a clearer example before we move on and show you this in MetaTrader, we're going to open a 15-minute chart, and then we're going to draw 4 lines on that chart. We're going to draw a vertical line at the 1400 hour, so straight up with just a single click in MetaTrader. I'll show you how to do this in just 1 second. We're going to draw a vertical line at 1600. Again, just a single click. I'll show you how to do that in a second. And we want to draw a horizontal line at the high price point. So in this case, it was 1.34870. We just draw a line there. And we draw another horizontal line at the low price point of the time in between those 2 lines. So again, just a single click. Let's show you this in MetaTrader, and then we'll move on and talk about the rules of trading. Okay, so just to show you in MetaTrader itself, when you open a chart window, we've applied our white template to it by right-clicking on the chart, selecting template, and clicking the white charts that we saved before. Now I just want to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to find the 1400 hour on this chart just to show you how to do this. Preferably you would be doing this just after this time frame occurred and setting up your orders at that time. But here we go, we've got the hour 1400 and we've got the hour 1600 right there. So we need to draw a vertical line. So we're going to click the button up here to draw a vertical line. And on the black line above 1400, we're just going to center our little cursor there and click. And now we have a vertical line. And again, we need to do this again at 1600. So we click the vertical line button again up here. And on the next black line right there, we're going to click, center our cursor and click. And this should be on a 15-minute chart, not a 1-hour chart. So I'm just going to switch that. And then just scrolling back. There's our lines 1400, 1600. And I switched it to a 15-minute chart, which is what you should be trading with this system. And then we need to draw some horizontal lines. To do that, we click the horizontal line button right up top here. And then we take it over here and we just center the crosshair of this cursor over top of the top price point in between those 2 time frames, which is this. And then we do it again, draw a line at the bottom, and the low price point in between these 2 lines was right here. So now we have 4 lines on our charts. We have a vertical line at 1400, a vertical line at 1600, and then we have a horizontal line at the top price point. In this case, it was 1.43302, and we're looking at the Euro CHF in this case. You wouldn't actually trade that chart with this system. but it gives an example. And then we have another vertical line or horizontal line at the low price point in between this time frame, which is 1.43152. So once we have that, we're then ready to learn how to trade with this system. Okay, so now that we have our chart set up, we need to look for the trade. To do this, we calculate the distance between the top horizontal line and the bottom horizontal line, and we're going to calculate that in pips. So all you would do is subtract the high price point from the low price point, and if there is less than 50 pips between the two horizontal line, it's an opportunity to trade. If there is more than 50 pips between the two horizontal lines, skip trading that particular currency pair this day. What we're looking for is we want to trade the breakouts on a consolidation. So the price has consolidated a bit. It hasn't moved more than 50 pips in that particular time frame. That means it's about to break out in one direction or the other, or it very likely is. So let's just take a look at a couple of examples of what I mean. Here's our charts like we just set up in MetaTrader. We've got our vertical lines at 1400 and 1600, and we've got our horizontal lines at the low price point and the high price point. So to calculate whether we want to trade here or not, we subtract the high point, 1.34870, from the low point, 1.34331. And in this case, that equals 0.00539, or 53.9 or 54 pips if you wanted to round it up, which is more than 50 pips. So we don't want to trade this day. We leave this trade alone. Looking at the next example, here's another chart where we've done the same thing. We've drawn our horizontal lines and our vertical lines. And again, we subtract the high price point, 1.06225, from the low price point, 1.05877. And in this case, that equals 34.8 pips, or 0.00348, so 34.8 pips, which is obviously less than 50. So at this point, we would make the trade. When we find an entry signal, which we just did, we place a buy limit order at the high price point, and we place a sell stop order at the low price point. And when we set these orders, we're also going to set a stop loss. The stop is going to be set to the same level as the distance between the high and low. So for example, if we calculated there was 34 pips between the high horizontal line and the low horizontal line, our stop loss would be set to 34 pips. Our take profits with this system are going to be set somewhere in between 40 and 80 pips. It depends a little bit on the currency pair and the distance between the high and low point. If it's closer to that number 50, it's more likely to break out and move more than 50 pips, so you might want to use a higher take profit level. If it's less than 50 pips, a little closer to 30 pips in between the two lines, then you might want to use a number like 40. You'll get a feel for this as you practice with the system. When you're just starting out, if you just want to use a number like 50 pips as your take profit level, that's conservative enough and it will work. And then obviously, since we're setting stop losses and take profits, once we're in the trade, everything is automated. We cancel the other order, so we've set our order points ahead of time. The currency pair has moved in one direction or the other and broke out. One of our orders is triggered. The first thing that you should do is cancel the other order. You wouldn't want to be in two orders if it for some reason turned around. And then we let the trade run. Either the trade will move in your favor and hit its take profit, or it won't. Usually, hopefully, you're hoping that you'll hit your take profit level and you'll have a profitable trade. But if it went the other way, obviously you'd stop out. We've set both a take profit level and a stop loss. So all you need to do once a trade is entered is just let it run. And with that out of the way, let's move on. You should move on to video 4, and I'm going to show you some real examples of how to set up a chart when you're looking for these trades, and then show you examples of what happens after we've set our order points and the trade is actually entered. Hello and welcome to video 4 of your training. In this video, we want to give you some real trade examples. Now that you know how to set up the charts and the basic rules of trading with this system, we just want to go through them all again with some real trade examples. We're going to set them up on the MetaTrader charts and walk you through what we need to do that. And then we're going to help you look for the trades and show you what's actually done as we're making the trades and what happened afterwards. Let's just get started. We'll go right into MetaTrader and show you 3 trade examples so that you can use this system well. Okay, so taking a look at a trade example here, this one is on the British pound US dollar chart, and we're looking at the 15-minute charts. This should always be traded on the 15-minute charts. It's just after the 1600 time frame, so we need to draw some lines here. We need to draw, first of all, a vertical line at 1600, and then we need to draw a vertical line at 1400. So using the vertical line tool in MetaTrader, it's just two simple clicks to do that. We grab the vertical line tool and click, and now we have our two vertical lines. We also need to draw horizontal lines at the price points, the high price point of this in between this time frame and the low price point in between this time frame. So we get the horizontal line tool and click at the high point, and we get the horizontal line tool and click at the low point. So now we have our horizontal lines, and that actually is off just a little bit. I'll just show you how you can adjust a line if you don't get it in the right place. You can right click on a chart, click properties, click object list, and the last line that you added will be on the bottom. So we're just going to edit this, and we're going to move it up 1 pip so that it's right below the bar. So I just changed that from 3.4 to 3.3, and there we go. So now we have our high point, our low point, and in between those two lines we need to calculate the difference. So we're just going to use a calculator to do that, to find out if this is a good place to trade or not. The expectation here is that once the price moves past this point, it's consolidated a little bit, it's either going to go up or down, and in either case, if you catch it on the breakout, it's an opportunity to make some pips in a fairly short period of time. This order points that were set are only good for a day, but first let's just calculate this. So we've got 1.5067 is the high point, minus 1.5033 is the low point. So we've got a 34 pip spread in between these two lines. This is a good place to place our orders. So we would place our buy order on this line at 1.5067, and we would place our sell order at 1.5033. When we put these orders in place, we set them so that they automatically get hit when the price moves past the point of entry, and in this case we would have set our orders. We would have set our stops at the same distance back as the spread, so 34 pips in between these lines. We would have placed our buy order here with a 34 pip stop. We would have placed our sell order here with a 34 pip stop, and then as this currency pair moved forward, it did break out, it moved up, and we would have set our take profit level on this order here at 50 pips. We might actually set it a little bit higher as you gain more experience with this, but in this case it would have moved up. We hit our 50 pip take profit level a couple hours later, so this order was a nice profitable order, and that's one example of how this system works. And let's take a look at a couple more examples. Okay, taking a look at another example here, I'm looking at the Euro US dollar on the 15-minute chart, and the 1600 hour has just passed. So we draw our lines. I've drawn these already. I drew a vertical line at 1600, and I drew a horizontal or another vertical line at 1400, and then I drew a horizontal line at the low price point in between those two time frames, and a horizontal line at the high price point in between those two time frames. So just to calculate this out, 1.33618 is the high point, minus 1.35956 is the low point, and that's 22 pips difference. So I would set that means we can trade. There's less than 50 pips difference between the top line and the bottom line, so it is a good point to trade. So we could set a buy order for the top line, 1.3618, with a stop loss at 22 pips behind at the low point, and we could set a sell order for the low point with a stop loss 22 pips behind, and then the price is going to likely move in either one direction and trigger our order, and in this case it did. It triggered our order right away on the next bar actually, and the order was entered, and we set our take profit level for 50 pips, and that was also hit just about 45 minutes later. So another successful order, quite profitable in a short period of time. And even if our take profit level hadn't been hit, the order would have continued for a day and still hit the take profit level. So again, another good example. And let's look at one more trade example before we're finished with this. Okay, so looking at another trade example here, I'm looking at the Australian dollar, US dollar this time on the 15-minute chart, and I've drawn my lines. I've drawn my vertical line at 1600, my vertical line at 1400, and then I've got a horizontal line at the low price point and a horizontal line at the high price point. And I've taken the time to calculate that. 0.9125 is the high, minus 0.9094 is the low. So there's a 31 pip spread in this case. So I set my buy order just at the high point, and I set my sell order just at the low point. And again, I use a 33 pip stop on this one, and I would probably use a 50 pip take profit level. And then this order actually triggered my sell order right away, and it continued on, and eventually about 4 hours later, our take profit level was hit, and we exit this trade with 50 pips in profit. So another trade example, and another good trade example of how this system can be profitable for you. So now that we've covered the rules of trading with this system and we've given you some examples of trading with this system, move on to video 5 to learn about the currency pairs you should be trading, and I'm going to give you a money management system that will help you stay profitable. And then once you've finished that video, make sure you practice this system every day until you're completely comfortable using it. Because it's a fairly fast moving system, it doesn't take much to practice it with a demo account, and that practice will help you to ensure that you stay profitable in the long run.